Hello world, my name is Tim Ruswick, and if you just came from the numbers, there it is. There it is. Don't you hate when YouTubers are like, hey, I'm going to show you exactly how much money I made, and they make you wait like 10 hours in the video to actually know the number. It's ridiculous. So there's a number. I made $7,136.36 in the first month since Philophobia launched. If you want to know how I did that, and specifically how I did that with zero press, zero influencers, zero YouTubers, watch on. It's going to be fun. So first up, I want to point out that this is a sales breakdown. I'm not going to go into any detail on a bunch of different stuff. I'm going to break down a bunch of numbers, tell you exactly what I did, and I'm going to try and keep it moving as quickly as possible. Okay? So if you don't know, Philophobia is a game about the fear of love. It's a game where love is literal hell, and all of the enemies are hearts. It launched around Valentine's Day, February 10th, 2019, and I consider the launch window February 10th to February 14th. I think that's where we made the most money prior to Valentine's Day. I have 30-day numbers here, and I'm going to break down some weird stuff that I did and show you kind of how I made the revenue and where it came from and all that different stuff. So first up, things to note, I have a community of 40,000 YouTube subscribers. I know you're probably sitting watching this on YouTube and you can see the subscriber count, but I need to point that out because not everybody can pull something like this off. I did zero press. I did zero social media. I did zero influencer outreach. I launched on itch.io, not Steam. itch.io exclusively. I launched a physical and a digital Founders Edition, which is like a collector's edition. And so I just want to say the results are not typical because, one, not everybody has 40,000 YouTube subscribers, and not everybody launches on itch. Not everybody does weird Founders Edition stuff like I did, so I just want to be super clear about that. Now, here's how the revenue breaks down by the Founders Editions and the regular types. So the physical Founders Edition, I sold 60 units, 60 of them, and that came out to $3,960 at $66 a piece. The digital Founders Edition, I sold 31 of them. That came out to $1,240 at $39 a piece. The regular edition, I sold 178 of them, and that came out to $1,936.36. The total being $7,136.36. Now, couple things. The regular edition was $9.99 from the 10th to the 14th. That's like a launch window discount. It went up to $11.99 after that. So if there are some discrepancies in those numbers, that's why, because some of them were sold at $11.99, some of them sold $9.99, and I'm going to get into tips in just a second. Now, I also want to note out that the physical Founders Edition is the revenue number, and that is misleading because the physical Founders Edition costs me money to make. And I don't have the exact numbers because the physical units haven't shipped, but I just want to say that I did not make $3,960 profit off of the physical Founders Edition. That is gross revenue, not net, because it's going to cost me money to make all that stuff. But when I have those numbers, I will share those. So now the unit type breakdown. If you look at the numbers on a pie chart, and this is what I want to point out. So we have units sold. When you look at this pie chart, it looks like I made way more money with the regular edition. But it's misleading, right? Because even though I sold way more units, I didn't make as much money with the regular edition. And the Founders Edition is something that a lot of people told me not to do. They're like, no, don't do a collector's edition, don't do a physical edition, it's not going to work, it won't work. They were incorrect. Because when we compare them, here's the units sold, right? And here is the revenue made. The Founders Editions make up more than 75% of the revenue of the entire game. I'm sorry, less than 75%. I can't math. Tim can't math today. Just less than 75% if you look at that. So 27% is the regular edition revenue. Now, like I said, it's slightly misleading because the physical Founders Edition has hard costs associated with it. So don't read into that too much. But either way, the Founders Edition idea, the Collector's Edition, the idea that you should push out something that costs a little extra, that's a little bit cooler for your audience, I think makes a whole lot of sense. Now, I also want to say that one of the reasons why this worked is because I have an audience. So if you don't have an audience, you need to get working on that. Okay, you need to, because that I think is the future of how to make a living making games. So again, when you look at the units sold, it looks like the base edition was way more, but then you actually look at the revenue and you made way more doing the regular edition. So that was interesting. Now let's break down the base edition sales. Let's break it down. In 4 days, I sold 160 units of the base edition at $9.99. So I made $1,598.40 in 4 days. Okay, that was a launch window. For comparison, the rest of the month, 26 days, I only sold 18 units at $11.99, which is $215.82. Okay. So, launch day 4 days, you make $1,500. Rest of the month, I only sold 18 units. I made $215. Now, this third one down here, my head's in the way. $122 in tips. So, if you don't know, itch.io has the ability to add a tip when you buy a game, and I left that enabled. I didn't think it would add anything, but with 0 extra units, it generated me $122 in tips from people already buying the game. They just hit add $1, add $5, add $10. Some people added $10 tips, which is pretty sweet. So that's the breakdown of the base edition revenue in 30 days on itch.io exclusively. Here is a screenshot from my backend for itch.io. This is the revenue and how it breaks down. 178 payments, 9,767 views, 404 downloads, 37 ratings, 150 collections, 68 comments, 50,000 impressions, and a 0.34% click-through rate. Now, how did I get 50,000 impressions? And what does an impression mean if you don't know? An impression is the amount of people that saw the thumbnail of the game. So every time a page loads and there's a thumbnail of the game there, that counts as an impression. Doesn't mean people click on it. It doesn't mean people even see it, to be honest. They could have just reloaded the page. But that is what counts as an impression. And the click-through rate is the impression versus the views. So if you divide the views by the impressions, you get the click-through rate. I think so, if my math checks out. Now, if you can see on the chart, the payments, the downloads, and the views all look pretty same. The majority of payments, which count as sales, are all happen on that first day. Then it's a slow trickle down, and then it kind of just tapers off. I'm getting about a sale or two every day or two now, which we're about 30 days in, 30, 45 days in, which is not bad. You know, that comes out to like $30 a week or something like that, which, you know, if that can maintain, hey, it's revenue. Another thing I want to note is I decided to set the itch cut, because you can set how much percentage of your game sale you give them. I decided to set it to 0% to see if that would affect how far they push you out, because I know on Steam, when you the better you do, the more exposure they give you. So I wanted to test if giving itch a 0% cut would limit my exposure, and it did not. And I feel bad for old itch there, because I gave them a 0% cut. But that just is another awesome thing about itch. You can literally set how much percentage you want to give them, which I think is amazing. I've really come to love itch.io a lot. Let's go through a traffic breakdown. I want to show you where exactly my traffic came from. So this is a little hard to see, but I want to show you at the top here. Itch.io gave me 609 visits, and that's because I was featured on the front page of Itch. My YouTube channel got 515 visits. PhiloPhobiaGame.com got 222 visits. And a lot of traffic went to PhiloPhobiaGame.com from my YouTube channel, from my my email list and all that. Got a lot of traffic from Google, people searching the game. Got a lot of traffic from people searching the name of the game. I got a lot of traffic from Zero Deaths, Thomas Brush's PewDiePie game. I don't know why that would give it a bump. That was interesting to see. I got some traffic from the top sellers list, from the new and popular featured, because I think we were number 2 on the top sellers. We were number 1 on itch for a while on new and popular. We were number in the last 30 days we were number 1 for a while in top sellers, and then we were actually number 1 on the front page as well for a while when we got featured. So that was interesting to see. But what's really interesting is how much traffic itch.io itself sent me without me doing anything. A lot of this is my marketing push from YouTube, but a lot of this is itch.io sending me sales, which is really, really interesting. A couple takeaways from this whole thing. I want you all to know what I took away from it. Maybe we can learn something from it. Number 1, try weird stuff. Everybody told me the Founders Edition was a bad old idea, and I didn't listen, and it paid off because I did something that everyone said was a bad idea, and I made, I think, triple the revenue because of it. So definitely try weird stuff. The overall revenue was like $2,000. The total is like $7,000. So I made $5,000 extra by trying weird stuff. Always asked to get featured. So that's another thing, is I tweeted itch.io when the game came out. I just sent one tweet and I asked, hey, I just launched my game. Can I get featured? And they said yes, and they featured me. And like you saw, itch.io sent me more traffic than YouTube. Itch themselves sent me more traffic to my page than YouTube, all because of one tweet. So always ask to get featured, 100%. Always enable tips. I got $120 for free because I just clicked the enable tips button. I mean, who doesn't like extra money, right? Enable tips if you're going to use itch.io. Why not? Audience is super important. So many people tell me all the time, Tim, I launched my game and I sold 10 copies. I sold 15 copies. I feel bad, dude, but you got to build an audience. You have to. You have to build an audience. You don't want to launch a game you work a long time on to deaf ears. All right? Your product is like a boat in the middle of the ocean. You got to figure out how to get it to land and get people to see it. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. This was a theory of mine. I posted a video about this before I launched, but I had a theory that larger price would equal less sales, but more revenue, and it absolutely did. So I sold more base units than I did Founders Edition units, but I made more revenue from the Founders Edition units. You see how that works out? Everybody's like, oh, if you charge more, you'll make less. No, not true. If you charge more, you'll sell less, but you make more. Weird how that works out, right? And last one, don't take 4 years to make a fucking platformer. Don't be me. I could have made that game in 6 months, and it took me 4 years, and it was ridiculous because I was terrified of launching. I was scared about people seeing the game. I was scared of what people were going to say. Don't take 4 years. Don't do it. My next game is going to be like 3 months max. Okay? Limit the amount of time that you put into something, at least until you get your groove down. Don't do it. No 4-year games. Come on. Don't. That's bad. All right. If you are new to my YouTube channel, I highly recommend you subscribe. I got content like this for days. I got all kinds of things on how to build, finish, and launch better games. I highly recommend you follow me here. Hit the subscribe button. Hit me up on Twitch. I stream 3 days a week. Awesome game dev stuff. We talk about all kinds of stuff on my Twitch channel. Hit me up on Twitter. Say hey. And then, of course, you can get the game at philophobiagame.com if you wanna. If not, I understand. But I appreciate you coming out. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody that bought a copy and that made this possible. If you like videos like this and you want me to keep up my revenue sharing, let me know, because I'm happy to share revenue on my game, and I'm happy to help out the game developers because so many people don't share their revenue, man, and it pisses me off. We all need to share more data to help each other out. If we all want to make games that are successful, we need to start helping each other be successful. So that's all I got for you. My name is Tim Ruswick, and I will see you again in the next video.